And hello there, it is noon, and it is our regular Lunch and Learn with me, Dr. Polly Heil-Mealey at Abundant Health and Wellness. We are located in downtown Humble at Main Street and Avenue C. So if you're ever in the area, then I want you to come and look us up. Now, we posted a sneak peek slide yesterday, and I hope it grabbed your attention. We'll just see if it did. I've been working on this piece for a couple of days, but yesterday morning I opened up Facebook and there was a post from a friend of mine, and it really just grabbed my attention. And so we're going to be talking about 3 or 4 different articles that I have on my desk here about flavoring, natural and artificial flavoring. Now, if you're like me, you probably know that you need to avoid artificial flavoring, and that anything that says natural flavorings, you think that that's a more healthy choice because why? Because it's all natural. Well, I'm reading this information and I would think that natural means it comes in the form that, grew or we raised it or something like that. But what I'm finding is that natural flavors are just as chemical laden as the artificial flavor. So I'm going to read you a few little articles here. We're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to tell you something that I found very disturbing yesterday when I opened up that Facebook message. And in fact, it made me sick, and I was sick almost all day. So don't want you to get sick, but I want you to be prepared, because what I'm going to tell you is kind of on the grisly side, and I can just guarantee you that I will be boycotting quite a few of the products on this list, and you'll understand why. So just stick with me here. So we're going to talk about flavors, okay? So all processed food, I think we all know this, that all processed food has artificial flavors. We know that meat that is processed, you've got the slivers of meat that come together, they glue the meat together with meat glue, they make it look like a steak, or they make it look like a nugget, or they make it look like a finger, or whatever they make it look like. We all know that that's processed food, and we know that while we think we might be getting a USDA whatever steak, it could be that we're getting something that is pasted together from scraps from other bits of the animal, and so it could not be as tasty as what we might think. So I want to just kind of give you what the FDA defines as artificial and natural, because it's not what you think. It's certainly not what I thought. Okay, so our tongue has 5 different senses of taste, okay? And they are sour, bitter, sweet, salty, and umami. Now, I'm not really sure what that taste is, okay? So all of these tastes play a part in how we enjoy our food, okay? The smell, the sight, and the taste of food, especially delicious foods, stimulates the body in the preparation to receive and digest and actually use the nutrients in the food. This is why we eat, because we need the nutrients, okay? And so what we're wanting to do is to make the best choices that we can for our families. Now, hopefully you don't buy processed foods. We have a food list of foods that we like people to use, and then we have foods that we want people to avoid, and anything in a box or a package we want to avoid. Now, I'm pretty good about avoiding things that are in the box and the package. So the food industry flavors can be categorized as artificial, natural, or spices. Flavors are regulated by the USDA Food and Drug Administration, and they are considered generally regarded as safe. So that would be GRAS, okay? And so we know that it's probably not going to be detrimental. But when you actually find out what these things are, I think somebody needs to go and examine the FDA, because if you told me that duck feathers was in my bread, I would not want to be eating that bread, okay? There is no way that God meant for me to eat a duck feather. I mean, I'm just saying. There's just no way. And so my daddy used to go duck hunting, and we would bring the birds home and we would prepare the birds. And I can just tell you, we took out all the feathers. We took them out. And I'm not supposed to eat duck feathers, but duck feathers are a natural ingredient that can be used to make the dough very soft and very pliable. So just gonna throw that out there. All right, so natural flavors and artificial flavors can all be made in a chemical laboratory, and we are none the wiser. So just because it says natural flavors doesn't mean that it came from, for example, strawberry. Doesn't mean it came from a natural strawberry, okay? So we need to understand that. Artificial flavors are additives designed to mimic the taste of the natural ingredients. They are a cheap way for manufacturers to make something taste like strawberries, for example, without actually using any real strawberries. The term artificial flavor and artificial flavoring means any substance, the function of which is to impart flavor which is not derived from a fruit or a fruit juice, a vegetable or a vegetable juice, a yeast, an herb, a bud, a bark, root, leaf, or similar plant material, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, dairy produce, or fermented products of the same. So if it's artificial, it does not come from something that grows, okay? So ingredients that comprise artificial flavors are chemicals that were not originally sourced from nature. So understand that. Now, I've got another article here, and there's this picture. I'm going to show you this picture. This is a device, and there's all these buttons down here. And this is a pretty big machine, and if you want to make a flavor, you can push these different buttons, and the aroma from the buttons come up, and you smell it, and you see if that is enticing. So this is a machine, and there are three very large fragrance and flavoring companies that they reference here, and they use these chemicals in order to create the flavors for your food. So I was just amazed that you could have something with natural flavoring and it didn't have to come from nature. So I'm going to read you this little paragraph. Both natural and artificial flavors are synthesized. Synthesized, that means a scientist makes it in a laboratory. But artificial flavors come from petroleum products and other inedible substances, while natural flavor can be referred to anything that comes from, and I just read all that, okay? But they're still produced in a laboratory, and it's still petroleum products. Now, I'm really glad for petroleum products. My family works in the petroleum industry, and so I'm just all about that. But I don't want to eat it, okay? I want to fill my car with it. I want to heat my home with it. I don't want to be eating it. So, natural, it says, is natural really better for us? It says natural and synthetic flavors are exactly the same molecules. Now, I don't know. This is from a PhD who teaches a course in Harvard on the intersection of chemistry and cooking. She says nutritionally, there's no difference between them. Usually what is nutritional is the food, not the flavor molecule. Now, I can probably agree to that. The flavor molecule just helps you get the food into you, because if it doesn't smell good, if it doesn't taste good, you're not gonna take it. We have that all the time with people when I give them herbs and they just like balk at it and say no, they don't like the way they taste, and so they're not gonna do it. So, is natural really better? Well, I'm always going to pick natural. I'm really going to pick my organics better, because if it's organic, then I have a better chance of having something that really comes from nature. However, that can be a problem as well. And we've talked about this before. But the definition of natural flavorings, I just gave you that. But strawberry, we'll talk about strawberry. I'm picking on strawberries today, and I absolutely love strawberries. Strawberry flavoring does not always come from strawberries, or blueberry flavor from blueberries. Cysteine is a natural conditioner used in dough that is made from, here you go, duck feathers and human hair. Now, really, I have been in restaurants. I've even been in my own kitchen and found one of my hairs in my food, and that just put me right off wanting to eat that food. But there is a natural conditioner used in dough made from human hair and duck feathers. I'm not into it. I'm pretty much gluten-free, so that kind of takes me away from the bread, and I'm kind of glad it does because I don't want to be eating that stuff. Maltodextrin, now maltodextrin is in a lot of your supplements and is in a lot of your packaged products, and all that is genetically modified corn. Almost all the corn here in the United States is genetically modified, so we want to make sure that that's something that we understand. All natural stevia is actually an herb. So it asks, what about the flavoring made from the anal secretions of the beaver? Now, who ever thought to squeeze a beaver butt and see what that tasted like? Not this girl. I would never do that. I would never even get close to a beaver. I'm just going to throw that out there. But there is a substance called castoreum, which is found in the castor sacs of both the male and the female beavers. This aromatic liquid is mixed with urine and used for territorial marking. It also is used by the food industry with regularity. In fact, an overwhelming majority of raspberry flavored foods are made from these creations, all right? So foods such as ice cream, fruity drinks, yogurt, candy, and tea may contain these secretions, anal sac secretions, which the FDA claims is entirely safe. Now, I think these people are on crack. I don't know. What about the glaze used on your donuts? Now, you're really hitting hard here because donuts are one of my favorite food. I do not eat them. I haven't had a donut in absolute months, but they are one of my favorite food. But I have great self-control most of the time when it comes to a donut. But the glaze used on a donut is made from the feces of the female lac bug. Now, that's LAC. I don't know what a female lac bug is, but feces from anything is not something that I want to have on my food. So I'm sure I can get like an amen out there. Okay, you guys don't want that. The University of Minnesota says, this is a scientist in the food and science nutrition professor. He says artificial flavorings are cheaper, easier, and simpler to produce than natural flavorings. So foods containing natural flavors are often more expensive. However, expensive does not mean healthy or safe. Although they make up less than 5% of the food's ingredients, both artificial and natural flavorings are created to hijack the brain, encourage us to want more and more, and become food junkies. Now, I'm just telling you, even though this female lac bug fecal matter is only 5% of the glaze, I'm not doing it. I ain't going there. It's just not happening. All right? So, with your organic foods, right? Organic foods have to be at least 95% organic, which leaves plenty of room for the beaver anal secretion to be put in your food, okay? So, and that's bad, but that's not even bad enough, okay? That's not even bad enough. I am finding that, I'm gonna show you this picture. See this picture right here? These are all tiny, tiny little babies, okay? Okay, I'm gonna give you a list of companies that use aborted fetal cells to flavor their products. Now, this made me absolutely sick at my stomach because, number one, I'm a Christian and I do not believe in abortion. Don't give me hate mail. I'm just throwing it out there. I think that, I do kind of rape and incest. I'm okay with that. Not really, but I understand. But really just totally not into abortion at all. So that's just kind of where I am. There is a company, and this company is called Senomyx, Senomyx, okay, which lists as its partners Food giants such as PepsiCo, Kraft Foods, Campbell Soup, Nestle, and Soleil. Now, I've never heard of Soleil, S-O-L-A-E. These companies, now we all know Campbell Soup. We all know Kraft macaroni and cheese. Hopefully we don't eat it anymore, but these are foods that we know. These are foods that are in our grocery store. These people use aborted fetal cells as flavoring, and I'm sure they're calling it natural flavoring because it is something found in nature. And this absolutely made me sick. Okay, the website says the key programs of Flavor Company focusing on discovery and development of savory ingredients, candy, and other additives intended to reduce the MSG, the sugar, and the salt on all beverage products, proclaiming that using isolated human taste receptors, we created proprietary test systems based on taste receptors that provide a biochemical and electronic readout when flavor ingredients interact with a receptor. Cinemex says that their partners will provide funding for research and development plus sales on products using their flavor ingredients. What is hidden from the public is who is using HEK 293. Now, HEK stands for human embryonic kidney cells. Okay, I'm going to tell you that again. Human embryonic kidney cells. They're taken from electively aborted babies to produce these receptors. Okay? They could use monkey cell. They could use Chinese hamster ovary cells. They could use insect cells or other human taste receptors morally obtained expressing the G protein. Now, I don't know all there is to know about the human genome and all that kind of stuff, and I am not a scientist, and you guys just know that. But I do not want to be buying products that are using human embryonic kidney cell in order to make the flavor additives. I'm just not wanting to do that. After several requests for information, Nestle finally admitted its relationship with Cinemex, indicating that the cell line, this is the aborted baby cell line, was well established in the scientific research. After listening to this pro-life lady, okay, I threw my paper down. There's this pro-life lady that went to these companies and said, I don't want to buy your products because you're using human embryo kidney cells. All right. She exposed the reality of the problem, and many citizens began to express condemnations of such immorality through letters to the companies. Campbell Soup and PepsiCo responded immediately. Pepsi was one of the companies with Monsanto contributing money in the campaign against GMO labeling. Now, you might remember about 5 years ago, there was a bill that came up in Congress that it was to allow or to insist that the food companies label our food, whether it was genetically modified or not. And the House, it was the House that defeated it, and I was very angry because I do think as a consumer I need to know what's in my food. And so, and I definitely need to know if the food manufacturers are using human embryonic kidney cells in my food. All right, Campbell Soup Corporation was a little concerned about the answer, and they say every effort will be made to use the best ingredients to develop the largest selection of products, providing a great value. With this in mind, I must say it's not worth compromising the trust we've grown and developed over the years with our customers to reduce costs and increase profit margins. Campbell did not change their processing. If enough people express outrage, their intentions to boycott these consumer products, they could be forced to change their methods. Well, this happened in 2012, and here it is 2019. I never heard of this, and I thought I was well informed on food additives, but apparently not. I will post this link, and you can check the links that are there to see where it comes from. You can look for the patents for the several sweet receptors that are made from these kidney cells, okay? The HEK, human embryonic kidney cell 293, is the specific cell line originally obtained from human embryonic kidney cells cultured in the laboratory. These cells are very easy to grow, easy to transfect, which is why they were widely used in cell biology research for many years. They're also used in the biotech industry to produce therapeutic proteins and viruses for gene therapy. Now, we do know that there are some viral therapies where they inject the virus into a protein, and so this is probably what they're going to use that for. So here are a list of products that contain the HEK cells, right? So these products contain these human embryonic kidney cells. All soft drinks made by Pepsi. All soft drinks made by Sierra Mist. All Mountain Dew drinks. All beer mug root beer. And I drink that. When I go to Whataburger, that's what I drink. I'm not doing that. Not doing it anymore. The No Fear drinks, the Ocean Spray drinks, Seattle's Best Coffee, the Tazo, T-A-Z-O drinks, all brand of energy drinks, Aquafina. Aquafina. Frappuccino, if you're buying Frappuccino drinks. Lipton tea and other beverages. Propel, and I love Propel. So we don't want to do that. We just don't want to do that. Tropicana, right? All the products that Nestle makes, including coffee creamers, instant soups, bouillon cubes, ketchups, sauces, and instant noodle soups, okay? Kraft and Cadbury, bubble gum, okay? Blackjack bubble gum, Bubblicious bubble gum, all chiclets. All of this have this human embryonic cell line in there. On your Cadbury, you've got your Swedish Berry, Juicy Squirts, Original Gummies. Thankfully, not the Cadbury Cream Egg. I'm just saying, that's not on this list. Certs and Halls, those products. We also have skincare products. Now, I'm happy to tell you that the skincare product that we've just been talking about, which is the HGH, human growth hormone, it does not have this fetal cell in there, so I was quite relieved. But there are some skin companies who are using it as well. So it's also in your vaccines. Now, we've known that it's been in the vaccines. That's one of the reasons why we object to the vaccines, is because of the aborted fetal tissue, but we're also objecting to it because of the aluminum and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to post this link in the comments so you can look up this report for yourself. So what do, right? What do you do? Well, you want to cook most of your food at home if you can, and I know sometimes that's doable and sometimes that's not doable. You want to make sure that you avoid these companies that we listed who have been confronted by consumer groups that are not happy with these human embryonic kidney cells in their products, and they're not going to change it because they are cheap and it makes their food taste well. Now, I will just tell you that if you are used to artificial flavors and natural flavorings, if you are used to that, then you actually dull your taste buds for natural flavors, like natural flavors that come from a real peach or a real anything that grows the way God wants it to grow, okay? So you want to make sure that if you do have a junk food tooth, I was going to say sweet tooth, but a lot of the junk foods are very salty, very savory. Now, why is that? Well, it's because a lot of us are working with adrenal fatigue. When your adrenals are tired, you crave salt, and that's why, going to the Mexican food restaurant and you get all those chips and that avocado and all that kind of stuff, and it just tastes so yummy and it's so satisfying, is because of the the adrenal fatigue that we have. So we want to make sure when we buy our products, when we use our products, when we select our products, we want to get as organic as we possibly can, and we want to cook our food from sources that we know have not been adulterated. So I know this is kind of a gross subject. I was very grossed out when I read this yesterday, and like I said, I was sick most of the day just thinking of the immorality of us as a nation, and the way that we just allow our foods to be adulterated. And I guess it's our fault that we haven't demanded truth in labeling. And I guess it's our fault that we haven't demanded that our House of Representatives pass those bills when they come up. So you guys need to be involved. We need to get this changed. I don't want to have raspberry flavoring from the anal gland of a beaver. Now, raspberry is not my favorite flavor, so I probably don't get a whole lot of that. But that's not the point. The point is it shouldn't even be available. It shouldn't be something that we are eating and consuming with absolutely no knowledge just because somebody said it's generally recognized as safe. So there are a lot of links that we're going to post. We're going to post the link for this paper, but there's also a link for the non-GMO project, and I think it's the Institute for Reliable Research. That might not be exactly right, but we'll post those links. You guys can start your grassroots organization here and get those cards and letters going to your representatives and to your senators, and let's try and clean up our food supply. So with that being said, I know probably nobody wants to have hot dogs this Memorial Day weekend, and of course I won't be either because that's just not a food that I eat. But I do want you to choose your food well. I want you to enjoy the long weekend. Hopefully all of you have a long weekend. We're going to be closed on Monday in honor of Memorial Day. So don't call us and don't come in because we're not going to be here. And you guys have a great weekend. Be good to yourself. Stay away from junk food and make sure that when you're buying stuff that's naturally flavored, you find out what those natural flavors are. So I'm signing off until next week. Take care. Have a great, great weekend.